Hello, welcome back to Yan Afloat. So today I'm not on the water again. I've actually just got back from a wonderful holiday at Phukai Beach Resort with Mark Warner, and while there I did a lot of dinghy sailing and a little bit of windsurfing as well. Um so I had a really great holiday, won a couple of dinghy races, and made some good friends. So that was really great fun. And having just got back yesterday evening, I went out for a dinghy race, and that went super well. There were seven lasers which competed in that race, and I was the first one across the line. So my dinghy sailing skills are definitely improving. I don't think I won the race though because the laser who was just behind me, and we were really neck and neck for the whole course, was actually in a 4.7 rig, so they would have won by handicap. But it was a great race, and fingers crossed for the rest of the series that I do well. And with some people disappearing for summer, maybe I have the chance for a trophy, which would be the first one ever. So fingers crossed. Um, Today, what I'm going to be doing is planning my next trip, and I'm going to take you through that process. It's just at the beginning of the weekend now, but at the end of the weekend, my daughter is going on a school residential trip, which means it's just going to be my wife and I and the dog looking for things to do for the weekend. And I've decided to take the day off work on Monday, and we're going to nip out on the boat. And it wasn't even my idea; the wife suggested it, which is incredible. It's incredible that she actually wanted to do that. So I obviously said yes, and maybe she just did it as a way to please me, which is great. But yeah, thanks, Rue. Let's go sailing. So where should we go? I've already kind of worked through this process in my mind a little bit, but I just want to kind of take you through the steps in planning a weekend's sail. So first things first, what I really wanted to do at the moment is nip out and see the Round the Island race because that's going on right now. But the weather is pretty damn windy. I'm based out in Christchurch just here, and we've got the Round the Island race going on, which is going all the way from Cowes around the island back up to Cowes. And what I was hoping to do was actually go out up near the Needles, which is a very exciting place to be when a ton of sailboats are passing by. And I wanted to catch them as they're rounding the Needles. Maybe what I'll do instead is take a trip out first thing in the morning to Hurst Point, and I could see them pass Hurst Point instead. But we will see what I have time to do. In the meantime, what I'm planning on doing is a trip from Sunday. So the first thing we need to look at is the wind. Now, when my wife first suggested this, she said, "Hey, we could go to Weymouth because my daughter's off to Osmington, which is quite close to Weymouth." So she thought it might be nice to go in that area. But I mean, it's totally doable in a day to sail to Weymouth. But as a first trip for my wife and I to camp out on the boat, if you like, I think that's going to be a bit adventurous. So I'm going to pick a bit of a smaller cruising ground, and kind of the maximum distance I want to go is kind of maybe Poole, Weymouth. Sorry, not Weymouth. Studland, Swanage. That's Studland Bay, Swanage. Or we could go off to the Solent. So we could probably go up to Cowes. If we really wanted to, Hamble maybe. I don't think I want to go quite as far as Portsmouth. So kind of around this area. So the first question is, what's the wind doing? So just looking at the weather, and let's just overlay this with some wind arrows. So we could probably leave from about 2 p.m. on Sunday. And it looks like we've got a good, northwesterly wind. So we could go over to Poole, and we would be heading upwind to get there. We could go to Swanage, and we would be heading slightly less on the nose, but still upwind sail to Swanage. Or if we sail off to the Solent, it looks like that's going to be a nice downwind run, and then a nice beam reach into the Solent. And then depending on where we want to go in the Solent, we could either be doing a run or continuing the beam reach, say to Beaulieu River. So that's what the wind looks like it's doing. Let's just move that on to maybe 540. And it looks like it's staying fairly steady in that wind direction throughout the afternoon. It looks like it's cooling off a little bit in the evening, but hopefully we should get to wherever we're going by dinner time and have some dinner. The next question is, what's the tides doing? So we know the wind's going to be really favourable for sailing to the east from Christchurch towards the Solent. So what are the tides doing? Let's have a look. So from Sunday 2 p.m, it looks like the tides are still kind of going towards the west a little bit at 2 p.m. It's probably going to take me about half an hour to get down the river from Christchurch Sailing Club actually into the bay. So what's it doing at 2:40? It looks like it's still flowing slightly towards the west. And if we just go on an hour, we can see it's turning. So about 3 o'clock we got slack tide, and then it's turning for the rest of the afternoon to the west. So if I left Christchurch at 2 p.m. on the dot, I would be out in the harbour about 2:30. The tide's not too strong. Let's just pop this over here. Just out of the run at 2:30, we are expecting about 1 knot. It's going to take me about an hour probably sailing with this good wind to get up towards Hurst Point. So over here at about 3:30, the tide's now flowing with us. And now check out this other video which I recorded before, where we tried to get through Hurst Point and failed. So we know that if we're going against the tide on a strong spring tide, we might not even get through. So it's important that through Hurst Point at about 4 o'clock, we're not fighting 4 knots of tide. But in this case, we've got 1.6 knots with us. So it looks like going through the Solent, through Hurst Point into the Solent, at that time would be absolutely perfect. We've got the wind and the tide with us. That should make for a really comfortable sail and a really speedy sail. So that's the plan. Now, if you watch this other video where we tried to get back in from that trip to Christchurch on a strong spring tide, you'll have seen that we couldn't get back in because there wasn't enough depth. And I wouldn't trust this chart datum for Christchurch. We were at quite a low spring, and according to this, the lowest astronomical tide should give us 0.5 meters of water, or here we go, 0.3 over here, at the lowest tide. But we know that wasn't the case. We saw jet skis wading around in their ankles at the deepest part of the channel. So we need a little bit more water than that. So if we left Christchurch at 2:30, that is low tide. But when we did that the other day, the low tide was like 0.3 meters. Now the low tide is going to be 0.7 meters. So I think we're going to have enough tide to scoot on over. Remember, my boat, it's got a swing keel, so we're going to be going through there with just the outboard in the water and really no depth at all. If need be, I can even swing up the rudder, swing up the centerboard. I could even paddle through the damn thing if I wanted to. So I think we're going to get through there with that depth of water. And worst case scenario, we hit the sandbar and have to wait a couple of minutes for the tide to rise, which will be rising at that point. So we're cutting it fine, but I'm happy we're going to get through the sandbar at that state of tide. All right, so having established there's going to be enough water to actually leave Christchurch, the next question is where we're going. Now, I already established that I've not been to Beaulieu River. I've been to Keyhaven, I've been to Yarmouth, I've been to Lymington. I've not, well actually I've stayed overnight in Yarmouth, I've not stayed overnight in Lymington, so I'd like to do that at some point. Newtown Creek, I've been in there, it looks lovely, I'd love to spend the night there, but there's no facilities. Now for the first kind of sail away with Ayla overnight, with the wife and the dog, the key things which we need is the ability to get on land so that... Sorry, I got interrupted again. My wife was very nice and brought me some Turkish delight, but that totally interrupted me. Yeah, right. So it's important that we're able to go ashore so that this time the dog can actually go for a wee. Because last time we were out all day with the dog, we couldn't get on land and the poor dog was desperate for a wee. And then the other thing which we quite like is dinner on Sunday night. And we would like facilities for showers and toilets because, although we probably could rough it and do without them, I like them. I like to have a shower every day and I'm not going to dissolve, unlike my dad. So I'm probably going to head up Beaulieu River to Bucklers Hard. And I can tell you I will do this because I've already booked it. So the plan is take a walk ashore berth at Bucklers Hard, get there sometime in the evening. There's a nice kind of restaurant, pub place in the old town of Bucklers Hard, and it should be an interesting place to visit. I've never been there. I'll let you know how it is, and I'm sure I'll take some videos. But we'll have dinner, have a nice night on the boat, and then in the morning sometime head back, maybe via some other places. So just before we plan our trip, let's talk about the entrance to Beaulieu River. Now, when I did the day skipper course the other day, I did a pilotage plan into Beaulieu River, so I already know a fair bit about it. But if you didn't, all of this information will be in the almanac. I still don't have an almanac, so what other resources can we use? One thing I found, which is pretty useful, obviously you've got the website for the marina itself, and under visiting, you've got information about getting here. They talk about getting into the marina by boat, and they've even got a nice video which I've watched where the guy talks all about navigating Beaulieu River. The other resource which is quite useful, and this is kind of similar to the information contained in the almanac, but this is visitmyharbour.com. So it seems like they've got lots of information about different marinas and harbours, rules about getting there, hazards, tidal ranges, navigation instructions, VHF radio instructions and contact details. So all of the information you'd need is in here. They've even got a chart for it, demo written all over it, but yeah, this is useful. So going into Beaulieu River, let me nip over to Navvy. So I'm paying for a Navvy subscription, and I'll do my planning using this, and we can step through that. But yeah, going through, we've got this recommended track, and what you do is you sail near this special purpose buoy. It's kind of named differently every year depending on who's sponsoring it, but it's a yellow race marker basically, which is just outside the entrance to Beaulieu River. So you want to come alongside this race marker, and then you want to take a transit line off this first red port hand lateral marker, which is a post, and you want to take a line with that and the left side of Beaulieu House. So that's what this dotted line represents, and that dotted line becomes your navigation up to the channel basically. So once you're between the red and the green lateral markers, then you just follow the channel. Following this line, we've got depths. So lowest astronomical depths, 0.6. And if we look at tides, so tides, the lowest tide, which we're going to be expecting, is while we're still kind of sailing. I expect to still be on the water at this time. So we got 1.7 meters above the lowest tide on the chart. So that's going to be 2.3 meters. Ayla needs like 0.3 meters with the centerboard up, or kind of like 1.6 meters with the centerboard down. So even at the lowest tide, we can just sail straight on in there with no concerns at all. So that's what we will do. So now we know there's going to be no issues kind of navigating that. Let's talk about the actual plan to get from Christchurch to Beaulieu River. So first things first, I'm just going to create the route. So click on the chart to set your start position. So I've gone out of Christchurch Harbour multiple times, and I know that's going to take me about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on exactly how fast I'm going down the harbour. The tide is going out, or low tide slack, as I'm leaving. So I don't expect to be fighting a tide, so I should be going out pretty quickly. It's not going to take me more than 30 minutes. I'm hoping to leave at 2, so we'll start this trip from 2:30 on the Sunday. So I'm just going to start this in the deeper water just outside of the run, and I'll get the sail up, and then we'll sail from there. And then the end point is going to be the beginning of the Beaulieu River. So let's have a little look at that. If we now click plan route, we can set our departure time. So we want that to be 2:30 on Sunday. And here we can see the route. So having plugged in my boat's data, Navvy reckons it's going to take me 2 hours 40 minutes to sail from Christchurch to the entrance of Beaulieu River. And what kind of speeds are we expecting? So in this first small leg, we're going to have barely any tide, which is great. We're expecting 5 knots. And then as we do this nice run from this point here, we're expecting 5.2 knots over ground. And as the tide kind of turns in our favour, we should speed up a little bit. So we're going to get 6 knots when we're outside Barton-on-Sea. And then as we head up towards Milford-on-Sea, then we're going to be running at about 5.8 knots, and then we're going to do a little jibe just as we kind of get into the shingles to avoid the shingles and run up along the coast along Hurst Spit. So that's going to be a nice enjoyable bit of the sail. So we're going to be on a broad reach going up along Hurst Spit. I expect we'll probably see lots of walkers on that bit of the journey, and that's going to be quite a fun bit of sailing at 6 knots, 5.8 knots, and then we're going to bear away as we head along Hurst Castle. Since we're going to be on the rising tide, we've got no issues with depth. We're going to have the wind and tide with us. I think I'll probably keep in close to Hurst Castle and go over the trap because we are not going to have a lee shore into Hurst Castle. Otherwise that could be a bit dodgy if the wind's actually blowing us into Hurst Castle. But I think it's going to be a nice sail to run up nice and close to it. So we'll probably go on more of a beam reach still rather than doing a run down into the channel. So we'll just cut that corner, and that should lead to some really nice sailing, and then we'll pick this plan up about here and we'll just sail on down the channel. So we're going to be again on a broad reach going all the way down to Solent with the tide behind us. This looks for a really good sail. So yeah, really happy with that. We should have some good speed going along the Solent, and I think what we'll probably do, since the wind's going to be with us, I think we'll just sail straight up into Beaulieu River, and just as we're entering the channel and turning the corner will be the perfect time to drop the sails. So that's what we'll try. I'll get the wife on helm and just get her to hold the course while I faff around with the sails and see how that goes. I'm sure it'll go great. There's plenty of water, so we can keep the centreboard down all the way through the river, and then we will go up the river. So that has us arriving here at kind of 5:10. I reckon we can probably do it by 5 o'clock if I cut some corners. So let's just clear this and have a little look how long it's actually going to take to go from there to Bucklers Hard. Plan route from 5 o'clock. So I'll probably be motoring this, and I think we can motor at 5 knots. It's going to take about 50 minutes. So we should arrive to Bucklers Hard about 6 o'clock, which would be perfect time for dinner. So, as I mentioned, I have actually already planned this. So I have already reserved a visitor berth at Bucklers Hard. If we just have a quick look at Bucklers Hard, one of the things which I'm a little nervous about is berthing up in a marina. I've obviously done it recently in my day skipper course, but doing it on my own with the wife without the instructor is going to be nerve-wracking a little bit. However, I've already called in and paid my invoice for the mooring, and the pontoon, and I've been told actually I'll be on the visitor's pontoon, which is just a nice long pontoon, so I'm not going to have to actually manoeuvre into a tight finger berth, which is a relief. So we'll just need to come alongside the visitor pontoon. So depending on which way the tide's going, if it's still flooding into the river, then I'll just want to swing around and probably approach that going into the tide, and then we can just ferry glide into the pontoon. So watch this space to see how that goes, whether it goes to plan. I'm sure it will, but let's see how that goes when we get there. I'm sure I'll do some recording. I won't record everything because at the end of the day, this is just going to be a nice kind of like weekend for the wife and I, but I'll try and record some highlights and make a video out of it for sure. Okay, so what else is there to say? I think I've really covered everything about the plan. The only next thing to do is go. So by the time this video uploads, I'll probably just be setting off, and I'll see you on the next one, which should hopefully include some nice footage of this trip. So until next time, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please comment, let me know what you want to see, and any feedback you have on this format of video, whether you're interested in what I'm doing. If there's anything else you'd like to see, please let me know. Cheers, bye bye.